To stocks, commodities, E-minis, futures, pretty much anything you can chart. But here's the question that comes in and an answer to that question. The question that comes in is, Barry, how do I determine higher highs and higher lows? So we are all taught that when we look for an uptrend, you want to see higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. And that's great in theory. But then when it comes down to actually applying this to a chart, how do you do it objectively? It's really a pretty subjective thing. So, you look at this chart and you say, well, which highs do I want to measure? Is it going to be that high and this is going to be my low? Or do we say, well, those bars really are all kind of just bunched together there, so that high doesn't really matter because, these bars are all kind of covering each other up. In other words, that bar is inside that bar is inside that one's inside that one. So maybe we shouldn't count that one. So maybe instead we should just say, well, okay, that is the high and that's the low. But then we get another question. Well, wait a minute, what about that low? But there's no real significant high. I guess maybe that. And anyway, point is, you see how it can get very subjective, and different people looking at a different chart, or at the same chart, rather, they will look at different highs and different lows. So there would be one, but then is that a high here because we get a green bar? Does that qualify? Okay, so let's learn a way to make this objective instead of subjective. All right, so here's one way of doing that. So first of all, I'm going to bring up the indicator. And this is an indicator that I think is on pretty much all charting platforms I've ever seen. It's just called the zigzag indicator. Oops, let me move this over here so you can see it clearly. The zigzag. All right. Now, there's going to be different parameters you can set. It varies from platform to platform, I'm sure, but usually they do allow you to do it by points or percent, or they might have some other options as well. This is NinjaTrader 7, so I like to use percent, because if you use points, then you got to be changing it around for each market that you're trading. Deviation value, now that's going to be very important, and there's no one right answer with that. So again, that's where you want to look at the market. You might want to change it for some different markets. I've got it at 3, and it's going to be measuring more major highs and lows. So the bigger you make that number, you're telling the indicator, I just want to find the big highs and lows. If you want to make it more granular and find all the little moves in the market, then obviously you make that number smaller. Alrighty, so let's put it on the chart. So that's what it looks like. Alright, so now you don't have to guess. You have an indicator that is mathematically calculating for you which highs and lows based on, of course, the numbers you chose. So there you go. Cool. Now, what does this mean? So we set a bigger number, and therefore it skipped a bunch of these highs and lows, and it's marking this low as a big one. That one is a big high. It's skipping all these other little ones. Again, if you made the number smaller, it would then catch those. In fact, let's do that. Let's just show you what that looks like here real quick. So if I bring the indicator up again, go back here, change the setting, change the deviation value to, I don't know, let's say 1%. So then, yeah, it does that. Okay. So, but now you have to ask yourself, okay, how meaningful is that? All those little highs and lows, is that really going to be helpful in your trading? So for me, no, not so much. So that's why I don't use it. That's why I use the bigger number. Okay, let's go back to the bigger number. So what's the practical use of this? How I use it is more for support resistance. Support resistance levels, I would say some of the most important support resistance levels are major highs and major lows that stand out to pretty much everybody in the market who's looking. So, for example, these little ones, these are not going to provide major support resistance. But these big ones are. Everybody, see, this is a Euro-US dollar daily chart. So a lot of people are looking at this time frame, and a lot of people are going to see that low and that high. And then that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and that therefore causes people to behave in certain ways when the market approaches those levels. The way they behave is they buy off those levels, they sell off of those levels, they take profit into those levels. So let's just show one example here. We'll just take this first one and put a horizontal line on it. Okay, there we go. And move forward. I'm going to have to change the scaling here just a little bit. So, as you can see, I actually have to change it quite a bit. The market came down to it here. Okay. Do it where you don't have to be sitting there and guessing. You can put it on your chart and have something do it for you, mathematically based, and it's beautiful. It really provides these wonderful support resistance levels that lots of people see. And again, there's no magic to that. It's just that when a lot of people see it, then mass psychology kicks in, and when a lot of people see something, they respond to it, and therefore it does affect the market. So, if you like this video, please understand, sure, it's free, it's my gift to you, but if you got value from it, then you actually have a moral obligation to pay it forward. Click that beautiful share button below and share it with others. It's going to make your heart feel good. It feels good to do good things. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, give me a thumbs up icon below and leave a comment. I really love your comments. That actually keeps me motivated to keep creating these free tutorials for you. And I'm also going to give you one of my favorite trade strategies. Now, this is a very, very specific trade strategy with entries and exits and all of that, absolutely free. It's called the rubber band trade. It has a very high win-loss ratio. It's a very simple trade. I can teach it to you in about 26 short minutes. So get my rubber band trade strategy absolutely free by clicking in the top right-hand corner there. If you move your arrow up there, a little eye with a circle around it will come out, or a little banner will come out. Or I'll also put a link in the description of the YouTube video here. And if you're not watching on YouTube, then go ahead. There's probably a link below or an opt-in form on the side.